Okay, I know we're no closer to knowing whether or not Football Manager 26 is actually on the horizon or not, but I figured now is as good a time as any for us to have a little bit of a catch up. We haven't spoken for a while, so let's think about some things that we might want to see in Football Manager 26 or Football Manager Beyond 26. We've all got some ideas on this, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. So pop yourselves a comment down below, anything you agree with, anything you disagree with, or an idea you've got on your own. I'm going to keep this video short. I'm just going to give you 5 ideas today. So let's get into it then. We'll have a chat. Some of them you might like. Some of them, I think you're going to disagree with quite strongly on them, but they're my views. They're what I think could be quite good for Football Manager, so let's get into it. So first things first, everyone's going to agree with this one. I can guarantee this is an absolute home run, okay? Football Manager 26 needs to have a brand new graphical overlay. Needs a new UI, and it needs to be clean and sleek and minimal. Okay, and I can already sense there's some people watching this video getting a bit twitchy about this because we love the fact that there's loads of information data and it's presented to you all over the place. You can't move for digits and words and graphics and columns and bar charts, and it's just unnecessary, really. I'm sorry, like if you think about it, right, all that stuff, it's just a bit noisy. We need to clean it up, declutter all of the screens, okay? There's too much going on and they just need to step back, okay? I know when they put out some of the sort of prototype screenshots way back when, some people were criticizing it, saying it looks like a console game. For me personally, I actually think that's probably the best way to go, because what you really need to do, what would be great for Football Manager, is that if every single version, so that's Football Manager on the PC, Football Manager Touch, Football Manager Mobile, Football Manager Console, if every version looked the same, that would make a lot of sense, okay? Because you want someone who can pick up a mobile game and go, all right, that looks exactly the same as the PC version. They pick the PC version up and they go, oh, that looks exactly like the console version, vice versa. Everyone knows where they stand with it. It would just make things so much more user-friendly, okay? And I know there's loads of info, and that's what, you know, Football Manager is all about, is info and stats and data, and that's what we love. But it doesn't all need to be on the screen at once, okay? So I think you need to strip some of it back, have things hidden in sub-menus or whatever, like maybe click on a player and then you then bring out all their information. I don't quite know how to explain it because I'm not a graphic designer, but embrace a bit of blank space. That's absolutely fine. Do that. Just don't clutter it, you know? It's like when you work in a messy room. It's not particularly appealing. You need to clean out a bit. Clean space, clean mind. That's what I'm thinking. So that's number 1, right? There's graphical overlay. Number 2, unsurprisingly, we're going to agree with this. We're going to stick with the graphical element, and it's going to be the match engine, the actual animations that you see in the match. And of course, you know, we've been talking about this for years, and I'm now a convert, okay? Back in the day, I used to be very much a case of I'm not bothered about the graphics. Football Manager is not about the graphics. I would play on my laptop. I used to play 2D and I loved it. But of course, now I'm a streamer, I'm a YouTuber, and it's visual content, right? So if I'm streaming something and I want people to watch it, it's gotta look good, yeah? And that's what it's gotta be. And I think what we're looking at now is how do Football Manager attract newer gamers? This is gonna be some of the things we're gonna talk about throughout the course of this video. Not everything Football Manager does is for the current gamers, right? The current users of the game. There's a lot of us, and we've been here for a long time. But if Football Manager is to grow, it has to attract a younger audience, and younger audiences are now used to seeing better graphics. And if they're looking at something that doesn't even look as good as something on their mobile, then they're not going to pick the game up. So it has to start looking like real football. It can be doable. You know, we've seen that on EAFC, we've seen it on Madden. It can be done, right? And I'm not expecting a jump from what we've got now to Madden, but we need something in the middle, right? Okay, we need something in the middle, even like, you know, Madden 2007 or something. Like, put that'll be an upgrade. So have a look at that, try and see what can happen for it, and make it look like real football. That's what we need to see. We all saw the Rabona in this year's game. We all went, it's amazing. Wow us again, and not just us. Wow, young people. That's what Football Manager needs to do with the graphics, and I'm sure they will. It might not be in FM26, it might be in 27, 28, but the graphics have to start really ramping up to get more people playing this game. Right, sticking with graphics, but more accurately sticking with the match day experience, number 3 is the match day experience itself. Okay, I love the presentation that we've now got when it comes to licensed leagues. We know the Premier League's in, so we're expecting more of a Premier League presentation. We'll obviously then have the Premier League's music, which some people don't know the Premier League's got a theme tune. It does have a theme tune. They'll play that, no doubt, on the game. When we saw the Champions League and the Europa League, all that presentation was fantastic. But it also became very samey. Like, I'd like some little cutscenes of like sort of teams in the dugout as they're coming through out the tunnel. You know, the players lining up and stuff. We know we've got all that, but make it a bit more, right? You know, can you get some weird drone footage or something going on? Particularly for bigger matches as well. Try and create some sort of match experience. Like, every match sort of feels the same. There's no big match vibe, and I don't know how you do that in a game, but realistically, that's what we need to be looking towards. Like, I want to know that when I'm managing in the Champions League final, let me rephrase that, when I'm in the Johnston's Paints final, right, or a playoff final or whatever, I need it to feel like it's a more important match than when I'm managing just a general away game in September. Okay, and that's what I think would make Football Manager even better. Whether it's better sounds, whether it's better match day graphics, whether it's some extra stuff within the skin, like some goal alerts or something, make it feel more broadcasty. I think that's what they need to work on. Have a bit more of that, because we love Football Manager for its immersion, and I think the match day experience really would benefit from greater immersion. So that's my third idea for how to improve Football Manager. Number 4 is quite an obvious one as well. I'm sure you're all going to agree with this, and it has to be an improvement on the AI managers, because let's face it, they're not very smart, are they, really? They're terrible in the transfer market, they're tactically predictable, and they don't seem to really do anything. You know, like, the game is set up for you to just beat the AI. The AI doesn't try to beat you, and that's what Football Manager really needs to develop. Is the AI actually has to try and beat you, and it has to adapt to your tactics, and it has to adapt to you in the transfer market, and it has to adapt to you in press conferences, in media, you know, with other players. Like, you make a change, the AI's got to look at that change and try and react accordingly, because it doesn't really seem like that's what happens. Like, you set your team up, you have your system, and it works, and just that's it. You know, nothing really changes. You just power your way through, and it becomes increasingly predictable. And everyone says that they want realism in Football Manager. I've argued this many times. People don't want realism in Football Manager, because if you wanted realism in Football Manager, you wouldn't have those tier 10 saves for a start. You'd be sat, you know, for 47 years in tier 10, not getting promoted even up to tier 9. What people mean when they say realism is they mean they want to be able to win still, right? Now, obviously, at the minute, the game allows you to do that, but an extra level of difficulty would really be nice. You know, like, you could have it as an entry level, you know, where you can just slot in your 4-2-3-1 gegenpress and get decent results. But in order to win and really win, you really should have to put a little bit of effort in, I think. And the AI doesn't really give you much of a challenge. I think we all know how to beat the game. It would be nice if the game tried to beat us every now and again, and that's what I think would be a fantastic improvement. And again, it probably won't happen in FM26. It's maybe a one for further down the line, but that's what Sports Interactive have got to look at. They've got to look at a way for the AI to actually try and beat us and make a challenge. So one day, fingers crossed, that might happen. Right, you know what, I'm going to keep this video short. I'm just going to give you 5 ideas today. And number 5 is the one that is quite contentious, and I think a lot of you are going to be quite angry about it. And I've said it a lot, and I've thought about it a lot, and I genuinely think Football Manager would benefit from no attributes at all. Okay? And I can already sense that has not gone down well. But think about the last point we said when people want realism in the game. If people want realism in Football Manager, then in an actual real life environment, managers don't have attributes of players. Right? No player walks around going, oh, Gaffer, I'm 17 for tackling. I'm 14 for anticipation. Oh, look at him over there. Oh, 12 for composure. It doesn't work like that. Like, no one has a numerical number as to their ability, right? So what you need to do is you need to go back to all that data that we spoke about at the start of the video, got to look at how we present that, and there needs to be a way where we can work out these players without the numerical ratings of 1 to 20. Okay, so there's maybe got to be some more descriptors, things like this player is physical, this player is good in the air, this player is obviously one of the quickest players in the league, this player has really good dribbling, this player has a fantastic shot on him, this player loves to pick the ball up from deep and drive forward, just to help you visualize what these players are. And I think that will be better. And again, you could even have the same with staff in terms of like their descriptions as well. You know, like really good at picking out young talent, works well with defenders, works with the goalkeepers, more of a technical based coach. I know it wouldn't be for everybody, and some people would maybe think this of course would not be Football Manager, but it would change the dynamic. And again, I'm talking about the thing about Sports Interactive bringing more people in, and Football Manager, it can be quite a barrier to entry to get into this, right? We've been playing it for years, so we've got used to it, yeah? But if you've got someone brand new trying to look at this game, and they've seen the cluttered UI screen, and they've seen the sort of like the shonky matchday graphics and the presentation, and they're wondering why the AI doesn't seem to respond to any changes they've made, they're also going to be wondering what on earth the difference is between, as I say, a 12 in composure and a 13 in composure. What does it mean? You know, there's no actual relevance as to what these numbers mean. So maybe take the numbers away, have them under the hood. You know, you don't need to see them. Have them under the hood, but use a player's description. That would help someone understand the game a bit more. It would certainly help in terms of tactical creation, because then you wouldn't have, this is probably going to get me a lot of anger as well, you wouldn't have the downloadable tactics, because it wouldn't necessarily work so much, because you'd need specific players that would work in those tactics. Or maybe actually would it even do, maybe it would do the other thing. Maybe it would help the downloadable tactic community, because you'd then be able to see straight away why these tactics work. Because if you're looking at it and thinking, okay, I need a player who picks the ball up and drives through the middle and is the engine of the team, rather than looking to try and work out, well, what attributes actually need to make that player work, you just need to start looking for the personality trait. And that's how you start to do it. And your scouts then become more valuable, because at the minute, scouting doesn't really seem as valuable as it probably should be, which, of course, in the real world, it massively is valuable. You know, it massively is valuable. So that's what I think. I think the attributes should be taken off, personally, or maybe have an option for them to go on. But I think by default, it should go off, right? Rebrand it as the brand new Football Manager, and maybe have classic mode for those people who love attributes. Have that as an option, but I think by default, get rid of it, start again. In fact, you know what? I said I was going to do 5. I'm going to do 6, because I'm on a bit of a roll here. And with that, while I've got you angry, I also think they need to have head coach mode in as well. Okay, so when you get manager, when you get an interview and the club say, would you be willing to work with our director of football, and you click yes, it doesn't do anything, does it? It doesn't do anything. Whereas, of course, in real life, if you are employed as a head coach, you don't have any say over the transfers. So the director of football does all that. So that would allow you the opportunity in game to decide whether or not you want to be a manager or a head coach. And it could fluctuate from club to club, which could be quite interesting, I think. So you might start at a club where you are the manager, and then you might get a job opportunity comes up and you realise, well, actually, I'm not in charge of the transfers here. I don't know if I want to take that job on. And it might make you think a little bit more. Because even then, getting to Real Madrid, you're not necessarily picking the players, are you? The recruitment team are picking the players. You know, you might have some teams that are doing things by data driven. So they're going to have their recruitment team are going to bring the players in. And all you've got to do is pick from the players, going, right, we've brought you these suggestions. Which one do you like? Again, might not be for everybody, but I'm just thinking it could be a really interesting way to freshen the game up. And we are, of course, in this new generation of Football Manager. Why not look at it? That's my thoughts, okay? So you've heard what I've had to say. I said I was going to give you 5 ideas. I've given you 6 because I'm nice like that. If you've liked it, let us know down below in the comments. If you've not liked it, let us know down below in the comments. And more importantly, any ideas you've got, make sure you leave them below as well, right? We are going to hopefully hear some more news about FM26 in the future. When that is, we don't know. But it's a pleasure talking to you as always. Please stick around. Hit a subscribe on the channel if you want to as well. I'll try and get some more stuff done. But yeah, as I say, let me know your thoughts. We'll speak to you soon. In a bit. Bye now.